Sasha. Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be doing a book haul. So I went to the bookstore. I actually work at Barnes & Noble, so I get a pretty major discount there. But I did have about $75 in gift cards to spend, so I just spent all my gift cards, and I think I spent $10 more. But these are all of the books that I got in the haul. There are 10 or 11 books, I think. But I'm just going to show you every single book that I got and kind of like why I got it. I'm not going to be doing a full synopsis on each book, obviously, number one, because I haven't read them, but number two, a lot of books I just take other people's recommendations and don't look a ton into the book. If it's someone who has a similar taste than me on YouTube or TikTok or whatever it might be, then I pretty much just take their word for it, and then I go in blind because I like to be surprised, and I feel like sometimes the back of the book spoils something that would have been such a big surprise for me if I was reading it. So I'm just going to tell you guys about why I like the books, or why I got them, and why I want to read them. The first book that I got is Summer Sisters by Judy Blume. You may have heard of this author. She writes a lot of kids books, and she has a really popular book that is also popular in gender studies as well, for girlhood. I think I read that in another book that I had to read for one of my classes. This is a literary fiction book. I really have been enjoying literary fiction the past year. It's just like a genre that I went into, and I feel like it sounds kind of scary, but it's not scary at all. It's just very character driven fiction, pretty much. So I got this book. It looked so cute, and I saw it on the shelf, and it looked so summery. So I saw this back in summer, and I was like, I just have to read that book at one point. And then I think I saw Destiny said, well, read this book, and she rated it highly, and she also compared it to one of my favorite books of all time, which is Mary Jane by Jessica Anya Blau. That book is my favorite. I love it so much. I recommend it to everybody, and when I saw this book, I was like, it's kind of giving me the same vibe, and so that's why I was interested in it. And then Destiny kind of confirmed it for me, so of course I had to get it. So I got it, and I'm super excited to read it. It's actually up for nomination for our monthly book club pick. If you guys didn't know, I do have a monthly book club. It is on Patreon. It's $5 a month. We just have a Discord, and then we also do monthly Zoom meetings and we talk about the book. This is the first book that I got. Okay, the next book that I got, I have been wanting for quite some time. I just always saw it, and I was like, I really want to read that ever since I started working at Barnes & Noble. But I also read another book by this author that was actually required for me to read for one of my classes, and I really liked her writing. This is my cat. My cat just... Oh, you cannot be up there, bro. He sees nothing wrong with that. That book is Americana by Chimamanda Adichie. So the book that I read by her was called Purple Hibiscus. It was such a good book. I think it was in my 5-star read video, or the last video that I posted where I just talked about some of my favorite books of the year. I really enjoyed that book. It's one of the 10 best books of the year in the New York Times Book Review. She's just such a great author, and if you're looking to diversify your reading with like diverse authors, or learning about diverse cultures but still interested in like fictional settings, highly recommend her. And yeah, this book just looks so good, and I think my teacher read this one too, and she said she really liked it, and she had some great recommendations. So I'm really excited to read this book. This is, I don't know if it's literary fiction or if it's just fiction. Okay, the next book that I got, I didn't necessarily choose, just from free will. I had to get this for my class. It's called The Dew Breaker by Edwidge Danticat. It's a finalist for the National Book Critics Circle Award for Fiction. So let me know if any of you have read this book. I'm sure it's going to be a great book because professors typically pick really good books for us to read. So I'm sure that this is going to be great, and it's for a Latinx literature class, so I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot, and I'm really excited to read it. It's also pretty short. I had 2 other books that I had to buy. One was The Lays, I think that's how you say it, of Marie de France. I can't remember the other 2. I'll show you guys what books I had to buy for school, maybe in like a reading vlog or something. But yeah, that's one that I got. Next up, I got Renegades by Marissa Meyer. I've heard so many good reviews about this book from so many booktubers who I absolutely love. I know Rachel Catherine has read it, and so has Sarah Caroli, and I love their reviews both. I really like a lot of the books that they recommend, so I really wanted to try this one out. It's a YA sci-fi book. I don't think I've read any sci-fi really. I've wanted to, but I feel like YA is a great way to start off reading any genre, because obviously since it's young adult, it's a little bit less confusing, I feel like, a lot of times, but it's still really good and super engaging. So I'm really excited to read this one, and I just absolutely love the cover. I didn't necessarily go into the bookstore like, ooh, I want to get this book and I want to get that one. But when I saw this, I was like, yes, this has been on my list. Like, I really want to get this book, and it's also a pretty chunky book, but I'm super excited to read it because I've just heard so many great things. It's also a part of a trilogy, so there's 2 other books in it, and if I like it, I can get the other ones too. But let me know if you guys have ever heard of this book or are interested in reading it too. So next up, I got this book called Electra by Jennifer Saint. I don't know if any of you have read this book or heard of it, but I think it's a newer release. Like maybe it came out last year or the year before, but this is the author of Ariadne, and that book is a Greek mythology book, and it's about Ariadne, who is the sister of the Minotaur and the daughter of Pasiphae, and so then like Circe is her aunt. I really enjoyed her writing in that book, and I flew through it, so I really wanted to read something else by her, and I was in the mood for something Greek mythology. I just like to get a new Greek mythology book, I guess, and I found this one, and it sounded the most interesting to me. And also the little blurb on it says it's electrifying and perfect for fans of Madeline Miller's Circe, which I read, and I really love that as well. So this one looks super interesting for a Greek mythology book, and yeah, I'm really excited to read it because I really like Jennifer Saint's writing, so I just really wanted to get something else by her. Next up, I got a book I haven't seen a ton of people talking about on booktube at least, but this is the Barnes & Noble #1 book of the year. So this was voted for by several thousand, hundred, I don't know, booksellers across the country at Barnes & Noble, and it's just became the most popular book. So it's our #1 book, and my boss read it, and a lot of people have been buying it, and I've heard amazing things. Obviously, since so many people loved it, I was just like, I really want to read that. And I think it's got 3 different genres or something. It's like literary fiction, it's also mystery, and then I think it has a little bit of historical fiction as well. But this seemed like a really interesting book. You should definitely look up what it's about if you're interested in reading it, because it seems super good, and I've just heard so many great reviews, so I really wanted to get it. And it's in hardcover right now because it's obviously a new release. So this is by James McBride, who's also a really popular author, and I'm pretty sure that this book was on Obama's favorite books of the year list, so I really wanted to read it. Next up, I got Tomorrow, Tomorrow, Tomorrow by Gabriel 7. I've heard only good things about this book. My brother's wife read this book and she absolutely loved it, and she recommended it to me as well. And then I've also seen several different booktubers read this book and just have amazing reviews about it. I guess the synopsis of the book, which I agree with this, it doesn't sound that interesting because it's about creating a video game or something, which I don't really care about, and I'm not really interested in that, but apparently the story just takes over everything and the characters, and it's just not about that. So because that kind of threw me off at first. I was like, why would I want to read that? Because when people recommend it to me, I'd be like, huh? But now that I know that, I'm really excited to read this book. And this author also read a book called The Sword Life of A.J. Fickery, which is one of another booktuber, Haley Pham. I'm sure you know her. It's one of her favorite, I think, 5-star reads of 2023. So I really wanted to get into this, and then maybe I can read that because I've heard that her writing is so good, and this is a literary fiction book as well. I know it's going to heavily surround the characters of the story, and I'm super excited to read this one. This is also up for nomination for our book of the month, this one, and so is the James McBride one that I just showed, so I'm really excited about that. So the next book I got is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books in one. So this is C.S. Lewis's signature classics. I really wanted to get the Screw Tape Letters by him and Mere Christianity, and we have this book that has all of the books in just this really massive book, but this is $39.99, so I got this for $20, and getting 2 of his books costed the same price as it would have for me to get it because I get the discount. So I just decided to get the whole thing because I'm gonna want to read more by him, I'm sure. I've heard so many amazing things about this author and his work in writing Christian fiction. I'm pretty sure he used to be an atheist, so I thought it was super interesting, and I really wanted to read something by him. He's also the person who wrote the Chronicles of Narnia, if anyone has read that before. You've probably at least heard of something by him before though, if you have seen that or heard of the Chronicles of Narnia. But yeah, super popular author. I just really wanted to read it. My dad absolutely loves his writing too, and so many people just talk about how good his writing is. So I finally picked this one up, and I'm super excited to read it. The next 2 books that I got are not like books really. I mean, they're books, but they're cookbooks, so I'll just say that. So the first one that I got, I just want to show this as well, is the illustrated step-by-step baking, and this was in our book annex for like $15. So I thought, what a great deal. It's a baking cookbook, and it shows you, like it says on the cover, step-by-step instructions for each recipe. So I don't know, I just wanted to get a couple of cookbooks, and I was debating on getting the Claire Saffit's What's for Dessert cookbook, but I decided on not getting that one because it was like, it would have been like $20 for me because I think it was like 30 some, or I don't know how much it was, but I decided to get this one instead because it has more recipes that looks like I would actually make them, because that cookbook, I mean, it's super pretty and the recipes look super good, but it has more complex ingredients that I'm probably not likely to use or go get to make. So I just decided to get this one, which has so many good recipes. I was super excited when I saw it. And then I also got this air fryer cookbook that has 275 plus quick and easy recipes. Some of these recipes seem a little unbelievable to me, so I need to put them to the test. They look really, really good, but I'm like, I have never heard of someone doing that in the air fryer. But I guess anything's possible, so we'll have to just wait and see. And I think this one was like 10 bucks, so I got them both for half off too. And then it was a super good deal for 2 cookbooks, and I'm really excited to use them and get into some new recipes for the new year. But with all that being said, those are all the books that I got in my big New Year book haul, and I do have a new bookshelf, so I'm super excited to film a video of me putting all my new books on the bookshelf and a lot of other books that I've had stacking up because my other bookshelf's filled. So I hope you guys will stick around for that. Make sure you subscribe down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Happy New Year. I hope you have an amazing reading year and an amazing year in general. Bye guys.